Hi, it's Ian Alexander. I play Gray in the upcoming season 3 of Star Trek Discovery, and live long and listen to a strange new pod.
I didn't know you were gonna play right there. I fucked up.
That's a...
Julian's face. He's like, "What?"
You didn't fuck up. You could have kept going. You were fine. I had you muted.
Oh, dang, man. Well,
I thought we were doing the Ian thing right after. That's what I played.
well, now the audience
what I
knows.
did.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Okay.
If you're still with us, we did everything perfect. Don't you worry. It's just the finale. So, welcome to A Strange New Pod, the Star Trek themed podcast that is sure to turbo lift your spirits while the world is burning. We'll be sure to help you stay so calm when life seems like a Kobayashi Maru and wants to ruin your good vibes. Today we'll be reviewing season 3 finale of Star Trek Discovery, and let me tell you, it'll be one for the books.
Is it too early for...
Shut up, Wesley.
It's never
No.
too early. Never. I mean, you had the outline. You saw it coming.
I know. I know.
And you're never prepared for the delivery, though. I'm your host this week, the board queen of puns, Brittany, obviously living up to my namesake. And alongside me is my trusty bridge crew. The man steering the helm, Captain Julian. The man keeping subspace and comms open, Rear Admiral Eric. The man who has more knowledge than the sphere data itself, Lieutenant Hawk. And Supreme Defense Minister of Earth, Erin, is off this week, but she'll be back Saturday. But in her place, we have two very special guests. First, from our sister pod, Geeks with Kids, we have Michael Schaus, and also joining us, our patron collective January guest spot winner, Marion, aka Spotted Giraffe. Glory to you and your houses.
Yay.
Hello.
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 Living our best lives today.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we get into our in-depth review of the most amazing thing ever, aka Star Trek Discovery, we have some news, and as always, we'd like to give a big thank you to Sam Dillard and Samo Studios for our Trek-tastic intro and outro music that I'm always vibing to, and we'll forget to actually say hello. So, there's a ton of news. I'm just going to try and go through it as fast as I can so you don't have to hear my voice all the time. So, this Saturday at 9:30 p.m., we'll be recording episode 16, which is part 2 of our TNG movie deep dive with Star Trek Insurrection. We do also realize this is a weird connection to this week in real life. We did not plan that,
Yeah.
although they did.
Thanks, Senate and the House, for calling them insurrectionists. Thanks.
Yeah, as soon as they did, I was like,
We could have
Topical.
just terrorists. Come on.
Saddle up, lock and load.
yep, just like Star Trek, we're always, foreshadowing.
Shouse, it's funny you said that because that is the name of the episode.
Oh, nice. I will definitely tune in.
Nice. So, also on the 18th, Erin will be hosting a crossover episode with her other pod, AE Multiverse. When Erin is back, we will have more details for you on that this Saturday. Speaking of crossovers, because who doesn't love a crossover, we have a big announcement to make. Our first post-Discovery Season 3 big event. We're going to be crossing over with our friends over at the Discotheque podcast hosted by Marcy Starfleet on Thursday the 28th. This will be a big roundtable review of Season 3 as a whole, plus predictions and much more. That will be our 19th episode and will be available via both podcasts. So you don't have to just choose one. You can listen on both. You can listen to one or the other. Either way, you're winning.
It's going to be a lot of
Exciting
fun.
things.
I
It's
can't
gonna be
wait
a
for that.
blast. Also on January 16th, we'll be joined by not one but two. Like we just sound like we're pulling out everything. We're like boom, 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 boom. Two guests. First, Noah Averbach-Katz, who played Rin this past season of Discovery, will talk to us about his love for Trek, getting to play an Andorian, and much, much more. Also on that show will be New York Times bestselling author James Swallow, who will be talking about his newest book. Oh wow, right here.
Oh, yeah.
Haha!
Look
Because
at
it
it.
arrived. Thank you, Amazon Prime Shipping, even though you're an evil corporation. I didn't want Julian to think I didn't order it in time, so I was like,
You literally got like 1 day shipping on that. I know you did.
I know I did. It was free and it was next day, so I was like, hoo hoo. So his newest book and latest entry into the Picard series, The Dark Veil, which will focus on Will Riker and Diana Troy aboard the Titan, which I was surprised they didn't show up to save the day. What?
Everybody
We
wanted
knew they couldn't. It was
emergency
900
president program Will Riker.
Yeah, or their descendants, like
I was
Yeah.
hoping for a
100 years
descendant.
in line.
Yeah.
Blessed.
I already
Um,
started reading the book. It's really good. I'm
Blessed.
liking it.
Stay tuned for details on our Discord about our book club read of this one. And who knows, if book club goes well, we'll just keep doing it with all the things. We also have some New Year's resolutions for 2021, which involve reaching affiliate status on YouTube and Twitch. If you haven't already, give us a follow on there and invite some of your friends to check us out. Our live chat on Twitch, right now, as you can see, is always a blast, and some of your comments and questions get read on the show. These guys can tell you. So if you haven't hit the red subscribe button yet on YouTube, that would be a big help, so that way you don't ever miss out on our fun episodes and additional content. And we got a little linky poo, boop, we'll put in the video for later and in the chat.
Real quick on Discord, because even though she's sick, she can't stay away. Erin's chatting a little bit. She wanted President Harry Kim.
That would have been insane.
Yeah. Yep. This was me like a month ago. I took off for the day and I still couldn't stay away and watched you guys for like 20 minutes.
Because it's so tempting. You're like, I can just lurk. And you think you can lurk, but then you end up commenting. And then you're like, shit, I made myself known. So anyway, we're also 10 patrons away from hitting our 25 patron mark for our collective. If we hit that mark in the first quarter of 2021, the entire A Strange New Pod crew will do a dazzling rendition of Faith of the Heart via the live stream. The whole song. So, dear God.
We know Giraffe's getting really familiar with that theme song during her Crazy Enterprise first time watch.
I just discovered the remix from the 3rd season. I'm expanding.
So it's slowly happening. You're going to get pulled in and then you're going to like the song.
Do you find yourself hitting the skip intro button a lot more now?
Less and less. It's
Yes. Not skip
Eric's
that
like,
intro.
We got another one.
That is the wrong answer.
That is the right answer.
Song is so good.
Speaking of our patron collective, Hawk, would you like to tell people how they can go about supporting us?
Absolutely. So let me call that up here. Hi. So from $1 to $5, you can help us continue to produce all this amazing Star Trek content and get exclusives along the way. Just recently, Julian created an amazing tutorial on creating GIFs, and then there are the Star Trek drink videos that are created by our very own mixologist, Aaron. They're the perfect match with our Drunk Space 9 episode. So if you're interested, head on over to patreon.com/astrangenewpod to sign up.
On the gift making front, I'm going to do another video soon because I taught people how to do it via QuickTime on the first video, and then the next video I'm going to teach people how to do it all through VLC. So
I thought it was going to be slow time.
I mean, QuickTime can be slow time sometimes, so you know.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah,
You
but
want your gifts to move slow?
we'll do a tutorial via doing it all via VLC. So maybe near the end of the month, maybe February. We'll see.
Sounds good. We can do it for my birthday.
There
You
you
make
go.
gifts of me.
Hey.
No, that's terrible. Don't do that. So, Julian, would you like to give some shout outs to our awesome Patreon collective, even though somebody might be here?
Yes, I will. I would love to, Brittany. We would love to give an awesome subspace shout out to Simon Stager, Jeff Reeve, Mariah Gossett, Meg, and Bradley, Spotted Giraffe, who is lovely and joining us here tonight. So awesome that you're here. Brandon Feltzer, Mitch Thatcher, Rob, Jen Stein, don't you dare say it, Eric, Tina Alexander, Joe Saporito, Noe Santos, and Kang Hui.
Again.
Thank you. We love the support. Thank you so much. Tell your friends, send them over, have them
A
support
tip of the
us.
visor to you.
Yes. We have so much fun doing this for you guys, and this is one of the highlights, at least for me, of my week. So thank you for supporting us and letting us do it every week.
Speaking of the highlight of my week, it's time for the strange new loop.
Oh shit!
You wasn't prepared.
You do it
I was
again.
gonna make a shitty pun. Sure. Speaking of highlights of the week, it's time for a strange new pod. Strange new loop. God damn it! I said our show. You're messing me up, Julian. I set you up perfectly.
You did, and I'm never
Perfectly.
prepared.
It's time for a strange new loop. We're like too excited to talk about the finale. We're like,
I
all over
am.
the
I'm like so ready.
So in this episode, we learned that Book took the name of Cleveland Booker from his predecessor. If you could take the name of anybody you look up to, real or fictional, who would it be?
You stumped the hell out of us
It's
with
the
this one.
only
We're talking.
thing I
Yeah.
could
Yeah,
figure
that-
out.
That wasn't easy.
I was trying to think of anything in this episode. I was like, I can't think of anything. And then I was like, Book, name, origin.
Yeah. Like me
You
and
guys have a
Julian
few
were just
hours?
we were talking about it just before we started recording. We're like, do we look up to anyone enough that they would like I'd want to take like honor their name. And like I don't know.
First of all, even though I'm a woman, I would just make my name Doug Jones. Because
That's
if
fair.
you can be a human playing an alien as a human, that's amazing. So, Doug Jones, you're out there, you're watching. I know you are. Because let's be honest, you like all
Dougie
my-
Jones.
I'm just gonna
I don't
change your
like
name on
Dougie.
the stream to Doug Jones.
I'm fine with that.
That
Brittany
covers all
Jones,
the
Doug
bases, so
Jones,
that's great.
it kind of, we go together.
Oh, this is hard.
Took me 2 seconds, guys.
Does it have to be a real person?
No, I said real or fictional.
Oh.
Like, you could literally called yourself William Riker if you wanted.
No, I'm going to do one better and say Miles O'Brien, the most important man in Starfleet.
Amazing.
Could beam me all out of space right now if I
Giraffe
want
is
to,
excited.
but I won't.
There's nothing left for us now. We're done. I mean, we cannot match
Good night,
that.
everyone.
Good
We can all
night.
be Miles
Bye.
O'Brien. We can all be Miles O'Brien, though. Could you imagine?
Brad Boimler.
Miles for Miles.
Oh God, who do I pick?
Does it have to be Star Trek?
No.
No, I
Nope.
just said real or fictional.
Real or
Okay.
fictional?
Okay,
I
so
gave you the whole universe.
The
and
whole
you guys
universe.
Said, I don't know.
okay, so I'm gonna go with Giles from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Ooh, that's
Yes. Oh, you give off.
Nice.
You're like a young hip Giles, though.
Yeah.
Break out the guitar, Hawk. Middle-aged
Oh
singing
my
right
God.
now.
Oh my god, we should do the
Right.
musical episode right now.
Yep, it could be bunnies.
It could be
Bunnies. Our chat.
I wouldn't just I wouldn't go by Miles O'Brien. I would just go by Miles. No last name, like Solo, Han Solo. No, he has two names. Never mind.
Yes, he
God.
does.
You tried.
Well, now he does. Han
No, he
Solo.
was just Han and he was going solo, remember?
Yeah.
Remember that prequel movie?
No last name. Solo. Fuck you, movie.
That's one of those moments where you're like, George
Am I
Lucas,
the
let's
only
go
one
here.
who liked that?
I like
I
that
like-
movie, but I
love
just
the
don't
I
like
like
that part.
that.
No, the part where he gets his name.
No.
No.
As Janelle Monáe once said, I like that.
I guess if I had to pick anyone, it would be Prince. I will be Prince.
Oh, perfect choice.
The podcaster formerly known as Eric. Oh my god, could you imagine we'd play Fall Guys together and you would literally have to get the crown because you'd a prince.
All the time. I never make it.
Yeah, no. You'd fall. Hawk, you gotta be Jean-Luc. I mean, look at your head.
I know. If I go with Jean-Luc. Everybody seems to be going for fictional in that. I keep thinking
Prince
okay,
is
I
not
might go
fictional.
with-
He's real.
Doug
Oh,
Jones
oh,
is
no.
real.
That's true.
Doug Jones.
Was he real, Eric?
I'm surprised you didn't
Honestly,
pick Bowie. Let's be honest.
Prince was an emotion. Prince was a phenomenon.
Prince was more than
Well,
yeah.
actually, if I was gonna pick anybody in that, and this might sound a little depressing at first in that, but I would probably go with Kurt Cobain. Not the end of his life part, but as somebody who I kind of was inspired by in that, like I think he's kind of the perfect choice in that, and even in his short life in that, he transformed everything.
Nice.
I can see it.
I like
Thoughts?
it.
Mhm.
No, I like it.
Hey, you're just taking a name in honor of that
Mhm.
person, Kind of
Did
like getting
anybody
married,
not-
but less effort.
Did anybody not go?
Giraffe.
I didn't go.
Giraffe.
And I'm gonna stay Star Trek. I'm sorry, but I think I'll take Beckett Mariner because
Yes.
I want to instigate chaos and I definitely need therapy. So,
And you
That's
have all the
mood.
contraband.
and I have all the contraband. That is
Exactly.
true.
He was my second choice after Doug Jones.
Over on Twitch we have some entries. Aaron, who is just sticking along with us, says I changed my last name to Flynn for Kevin Flynn from Tron, which
Oh, I love it.
Ooh, yeah.
Flynn lives. Flynn lives.
Flynn lives. I just listened to the whole updated soundtrack that Daft Punk released. So good.
So good.
Yeah. So JD Haven 452 said I would change my name to Neo from the Matrix. So people and Engineer 21 says people call me Neo when they read my name too fast for the first time. So there you go. Yep. Jay Crapsup says Rutherford. Dig it.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Yep. The book was 25. Did somebody ask how much the book was?
Yeah, it was me. I was just like
Yep.
responding.
Yep.
It was really early on. I just have not looked at the chat yet.
So cool.
We did it. We made it through the strange new loop. Oh, get ready for the next part. It's time to get into the episode. We're getting into the meat and potatoes of it, guys. as the people like to say. That was just the
I
bread.
just named myself Miles. Come on.
You just named yourself meat and potatoes? That's why.
Mm.
Keiko would be proud. So, we're gonna review the Hope Is You Part 2, which first of all, I just gotta say, I was right, I was right, I was right. We were right, collectively. Because, boom, 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 that Part 2 is coming at the end of the season. We called it! And we were right.
We called a lot of
So-
things for
Yep.
this episode.
We
Yeah.
do. We're
this season.
either very, very wrong or we're very, very right.
It's true.
It's usually very, very right. I think also we just come up with so many theories, we're bound to be right.
Yeah, it's true.
There's like,
Statistics.
yeah, there's 5 or 6 of us on the screen, so it's like, what do you think? And then one of us is right, so we're like, haha.
We're just covering the spread.
And we all bring like 5 different theories.
Do you ever get mad? Do you ever get mad when you're right?
Yes.
Like I sometimes get mad when I'm right because
Yeah.
I like to be surprised, right? I'm like, oh no, I knew it. Ah.
I get mad if like it was kind of a joke of an idea I threw out there, and then I'm actually right, and then I'm like, oh, I was just trying to be funny.
I did that with M. Night Shyamalan's The Village, and I was
Oh,
so
God.
sad that I figured out the ending.
JD Haven on
It takes a village, man. It takes a village.
on Twitch said, breaking news from Jay, we are now drinking in the Cerritos Lounge. So I'm actually going to I'm gonna go along with that, and I'm gonna just do a little bit of this.
Boom.
Now we're there.
Yeah.
He's there.
Boom. Done.
So for our synopsis, we like to give it to a guest. Would either of our guests like to read the synopsis? Neither.
Who
That's
wants
fine.
it? Who
No,
wants
we don't want to.
I can do it. I can do it.
Douse has
Okay,
got
Mike.
it.
All right, so reading the synopsis here. As the emerald chain tightens its grip and the mystery of the burn is finally solved, Burnham and the crew have one last chance to save themselves and the Federation.
Oh, you need to add that pause. And the
Sounds intense, right?
Federation.
And the
Ooh,
Federation.
And the Federation.
Aboard
And what's
Q
left of the Federation.
Well done, Shows.
Nice. So of course we got our A plots and B plots. I just separated it in 2. Don't care for any C, whatever. We'll find out. So our A plot this week was Michael and the crew on Disco try to reclaim the ship from the Emerald Chain. I always want to say Emerald Enclave. It's so embarrassing. And save the Federation. So, boom, that's a big, it's a solid A plot. So, yeah, I'm gonna read the B plot later. People are gonna have to find out.
Hey,
We're just gonna
Brittany,
go
can I
in.
interrupt you real quick?
Yeah, of course.
That comment from Jay meant more than actually just drinking in the Cerritos Lounge. He is legitimately drinking in the Cerritos Lounge because he just became our latest $5, actually $7 Cerritos Lounge patron. So
I was hoping that's what they meant.
Yeah,
Yay!
Welcome.
that's
Yay!
awesome. Welcome to the collective. Yay, that's exciting.
Now
Just
you
in
can-
time
you
for a
can never
special
escape.
surprise that's going to be hitting the mail very soon.
Woo. I don't
Yeah.
know. I was just excited. I'm like, oh shit, what is it?
Thank you so much for supporting our show. Sorry, Brittany, continue.
Oh no, you're fine. Interrupt me anytime someone wants to subscribe or whatever. So, Michael and Book versus Osyraa and her crew is basically what happens in all this A plot. Michael went Die Hard last episode and basically goes full superhero mode in this one. She saves Book, kills Osyraa. Did you write Booko? That's pretty funny.
Booko.
Saving Booko. I was like, saving Booko. Killing Osyraa, taking back the ship, and finding a way for Discovery to get to Saru and his friends in time to save the day. Book is also able to use the the spore drive. So, thanks to his druidic abilities magically. So, how do we feel about all this?
I thought it was fine.
Never trust Burnham when she tells you, as her enemy, that she's going to cooperate.
That's so
Oh,
true.
no.
Yeah.
Her acting is just too good. You're like Sonequa. I believe you. You're gonna betray me, but I still believe you.
Yeah, the play off
Want
those
to
two.
believe.
Exactly.
The play off the Admiral and Sonequa in that sequence was so well done. Like, I love all the actors on the show, but those two are just phenomenal.
Yeah, I thought the part where Book was being tortured and then they were really torturing him towards the end. She's just like, no, and like breaks down and she's like, I gotta talk to him. And then goes up and she's just like, I'm sorry for the pain you had to endure. There's gonna be more. And was like, ba 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 ba. I was like, Sonequa! I was prepared. So
There was a really cool sequence, like basically from everywhere from when she starts fighting Osyraa right up to where she reboots the computer, where I was just in awe because you could see that she was like, her adrenaline level was so high and she's like, come on. She's waiting for the computer to reboot. And it like the fight scene was incredible. The excitement, the running around trying to get everything working. There was one part that kind of threw me off a little bit, and that was when the computer did reboot itself and became the regular Discovery computer again. And then she was just like, beam all of the regulators off of the ship. And
Except
to
for
me,
the
that seems
scientists.
Yeah, except for the scientist. And it seemed like kind of a throwaway kind of thing. Like, is that something that the computer would normally do? Like, wouldn't
if you want to get like Star Trek technical, I think because she has command level clearance, she's still the commander, that she can say, like, kind of like Picard could do any of those things. Like anybody with that kind of command level clearance could just say, do this, do that, like launch a fucking
Remove the
photon
Borg.
torpedo there. Yeah, that she could just say beam these people off the ship right now and the computer would comply. Because I think on our Discord, Joe was actually like, that was like a little weird that she could just put the 2 discs in, but I'm like, well, she didn't just put the 2 discs in, right? Like she had to give her full command authorization code. And then once it rebooted, she was able to give orders. So I didn't have as big a problem with that.
Yeah, it wasn't a huge problem for me, but that makes sense. Like that makes sense that because we've heard that like even in Next Generation and Voyager and stuff where they would give commands to the ship when there were no crew actually controlling it. So that makes sense. Okay. But yeah, that whole sequence, I just loved it.
It's a really cool set too, right? Like the data center. I love that set.
With all the programmable matter, and then when she gets sucked into the programmable matter.
Yep.
And
And
she's coughing it out.
Yeah. I like that she doesn't appear like when the music cue happens, and like every time you think she's gonna appear, she doesn't. You're just like, now she's gonna appear. Now she's gonna do it, and then you're like,
Pew, pew, pew.
okay, yeah, she appears.
But even Osyraa knew. She's like, wait for it.
Yeah, she was like, but she was too cocky. She didn't like prepare herself. She was just like, bro, you coming back out? And then she wasn't phased, but she was phased. You know what I mean? I did love the fight scenes though. I only had one minor gripe, but I always do because I'm always thinking about it as a martial artist. And that's just every time somebody jumps on a table, they immediately get their legs swept out underneath them. It's just, it looks beautiful on camera, so that's why they do it. But it's just like, you wouldn't let that happen. It's just so funny to see because I'm just like, she had any chance to move. Anyway.
Oh, she has a
Anybody
leg
else thoughts on
injury,
that?
so take that into account.
Well, that's true, but
She didn't really get bothered by
It's in
that leg
everything.
injury though, except for the time that she got punched
she
in it.
hobbled out the end.
Yeah.
So
And-
also we had, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say on Twitch, Engine Nerd said it was a futuristic Apple store. Which
Kind of like the JJ version.
Made of those shitty apples. Come full circle. So we also had Tilly and the bridge crew fight their way through the ship, as well, to blow up the nacelle. How did we feel about seeing Tilly still in a leadership position or a leadership role with this badass bridge crew who truly are like a family? Even that new lady who I still don't know anything about.
Well, and she disappeared at the end too when they were
she
all
was
lining
there.
up.
She was there. She was there.
She didn't get a close up though.
No, she did not get
No.
a close up. That's very true. Nielsen was
But she has a
somehow
close-up in our
automatically
hearts.
back and smiling. Yeah.
But how do we feel about them doing their thing and delivering a lot of the emotional weight and potential sacrifice in this episode?
I thought it was cool. I liked that the sphere data was fighting along with them and ended up being. No, you didn't like that? I thought it was cute. It reminded me like
kidding about
R2D2 coming
Don't
along
like
for
the
the
little
fight.
robots.
Um,
I want to buy the toy. Are they going to release that toy?
yes, they will. Of course, they will.
How many times have I said it's all for the merchandising?
True.
Like they're cute, so we can buy them. Let's be honest, and
I
we
love a
will.
robot.
Mhm.
I love a good robot.
I thought.
Exactly.
I thought that Owo was gonna die. Like I full on was like, oh my god, they're gonna kill a character, and it's gonna be Owo. I'm like, you can't kill
Yeah.
Owo.
I never doubted for a second. I was like, they can't kill Owo.
Yeah,
You know,
Same. When she goes, I'm just like,
I'm like, she's fine. She's killing it.
Mhm.
she's fine. She will do it. They won't kill her. I knew it.
I think had they killed her off, I would have been okay with it though. Like it would have been a really great sacrifice. No, I don't mean like I wouldn't have missed the
know.
character. Like I would have missed Owo. I fucking love Owo.
Yep.
But it would have been one of those great sacrificial moments. And it would have been earned. It wouldn't just be like for no reason. That being said, I'm super happy she lived. This is one of the few things that I have a gripe with this episode because like you kind of get a few of the setups throughout the season that the sphere data is starting to like, become sentient like as a part of the ship's computer. And then they show up at the end of the computer at the end of the last week's episode, which everybody knows how I feel about that one. And they're like, let's retake the ship, guys. And like they're in the fucking hallways just getting blown to bits left, right, and center. Like they don't do anything of consequence except the most important thing. and
Saving
save
Owo.
Owo. But like they were useless. They didn't add anything. Like the bridge crew could have done all of that themselves.
It's
except
like
for
having
saving Owo.
80 R2D2s. Like he can't do shit except for like open doors for people, do like zap people. You know what I mean? Like they're little. They look like
They
fucking
have
Wally.
repair
rolling around.
lasers. They have repair lasers that they could have shot the enforcer dudes with.
Knock them over.
Well-
They're short.
I'm glad they didn't nacelle Owo short. Okay, that was a good.
I was surprised that the idea of saving the ship didn't come from the sphere data.
Mhm.
Like it came from Michael, it came from the crew, never came from them. When we saw in the past season how like the sphere data wanted Discovery to survive. So
Yeah. They
it was a
didn't.
bit weird to me.
The Sphere data didn't really do anything this season other than give them movies to watch.
Literally gave them like Charlie Chaplin.
Honestly, I think it was just analyzing them and was like, y'all need therapy. I'm gonna learn therapy first, and then I'm gonna give it to you in the form of tiny, cute ass robots.
I
And
also
it happened.
I also really wish that it was Tilly who got to kill Zara, because listen, I get that it's very much established that Book and Zara have a history because they're both couriers. So I'm happy that Book got to kill him, but I wish it would have been Tilly because of just their history and his condescending sexist bullshit against her.
Yeah, his
He
taunting
called,
over.
He called the cat fat though.
He did, and she is a queen.
She's
Book
the
kills
queen.
people. Yep, you can't call the queen fat. Book's like, here we go.
I had one.
Um,
Sorry.
Oh god.
I had one thing about this sequence. Last week, I was under the impression that Osyraa wasn't just like the face of the Emerald Chain, but just one of the ministers. Like there were many of them. But as soon as she died in this episode, they just sort of like collapsed.
Mhm.
Like that was something I was sort of
Yeah,
like.
like she,
oh,
she
had a
was like their
problem with
leader
it.
or something.
Well, maybe she was the middle link in the chain, and then when they killed the minister, they administered that effect.
I think we
Yeah.
have that in like the lingering questions for later.
Oh, sorry.
I feel like her
No, it's
title
okay.
of minister is mostly just ceremonial in that,
Mhm.
I don't
Like-
know about that. I think she's definitely someone of power, which is what makes this even more weird.
No.
don't
I
think
think
they're
she's
gone,
definitely. I think minister is a nice way of describing what she does, but I still see her as like the one who's responsible for most of the atrocities of the chain.
She's the minister of pain. She
Well,
administers it.
Didn't they introduce her in that earlier episode as the leader of the Emerald Chain? Like
Mhm.
when Book was rescued from that.
Yeah, like they mentioned that, right?
So I think she's, even though she identifies herself sort of as a politician, doesn't she she runs like the whole organization, or at least it seemed that way to me anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, when you meet a Cardassian and they pretend to be a simple tailor, and they're really not. It's all.
What reference?
It
I
happens
mean,
all the
did
time.
you run a concentration camp or did you run a concentration camp? So anyway, speaking of Owo, I have to have a moment here because I've jokingly said before that I'm like, oh, I ship them, they're cute. But Owo and Detmer, they give them so many like nice scenes together, and I know it's probably just to show their very close bond or their like solid friendship, but I can't help but ship them. What the
Now,
fuck?
The producers have said there is another LGBT couple on board
It's
Discovery.
them. It's
And
them.
it's them. Like if it's
There's
not
no
them,
excuse.
like who the
There's
hell
nothing-
is it?
Nothing heterosexual about those
They
glances and
are
hugs at all.
doing it. They're doing it. Doing it.
Like Julian's like, in my fan fiction, it's true.
It's true.
Yeah, but
And they're
anyway,
fucking cute together. Come on.
they are. And
Yeah.
I was like, neither of them are going to suffocate because this show has already given us quite a bit of LGBT representation. They killed one, brought him back to life. I was like, so these lesbians in the hallway are going to be all right. We owe our life to Owo, and we are in Detmer to Detmer. The whole crew. Anyway, moving on to the B plot. Any other thoughts on the A plot? I didn't include the ending because I'm going to throw it at the end. If that makes any sense.
I'll talk about it near the ending. That's fine.
Cool. So, B plot. We have Saru and crew trying to get Sakal to leave the Holo program and enter the real world while solving the mystery of the burn. So, it starts out with Adira bringing radiation medication to Saru and Culber, and Gray, is suddenly able to be seen by all, and as a Vulcan nonetheless. How do we feel about Gray's part in this episode, and Culber finally seeing and meeting Gray for the first time?
I love seeing Gray. I love that Gray was seen. I'm still confused at how
Yeah,
Gray
me too.
was seen.
I like that I'm confused about it. I
This
like
is
that.
the fi part of sci-fi. Like
Mhm.
you gotta suspend your disbelief for a little bit until they show us how. How does it work?
Until now, we were not very sure that he was really here, that Gray was really here. We didn't know that for sure. So I think that the fact that Gray is here as an hologram, like really proves that
Yeah.
can happen.
Like there's a
You're
consciousness.
gonna find a
around.
solution.
They're gonna
Yes.
golem body like Picard. You have a consciousness floating around, just a little worm, a space worm right now, just floating about. Who knows? And you just find a little body, or you make one out of programmable matter and just.
Or they straight up Robert Picardo.
Yeah, I was gonna say, why didn't they just use the hologram emitter?
The networks too.
Yeah.
Either way,
just
So-
sorry, real quick
Oh,
on Twitch. JD Haven says I cried when they realized that Gray was seen, and Jay Krabs says, yeah, I didn't understand it. I want to know how they're going to make them a real person. And Aaron answered that with gotta leave some mysteries for season 4, which I agree with.
Yeah.
there's also like a deeper layer to the fact that like Gray's being seen. Like they're definitely throwing in like this heavy, like. Also, we're going through this pandemic, and there's so much about like touch and connection and stuff like that we can all relate to right now. But the fact that like this character who's supposed to be this trans like character is also like, wait, you can see me for who I am. Like I'm really here. You are feeling me. We're having this connection. Like, oh, I was crying. I was just like, oh god, this is like when you come out for the first time and you're like, oh, my life was so hard. Now I can live.
That hug was so emotional and so beautiful, and I was just like, oh my god, I'm crying in my basement by myself.
As me in my living room, my cat's on my lap and tears are just dropping on her fur, and I was like, I'm so sorry.
Ian Alexander is a tremendous actor, and they absolutely killed it in this episode. The raw emotion that they showed and acted was just beautiful. And can we talk about the Vulcan makeup real quick? Because damn,
It
awesome.
was so good. As much as I love the Trill, I was just like, oh, I kind of want Gray to come back as a Vulcan now. Like, what?
Me too. It was so badass.
The costume, when they walk away in that slow walk.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, it was so awesome.
Yeah, I gift the hell out of that.
oh,
It's such
so
a good gift.
Just looks so cool. Any other thoughts on Gray from any of you guys before we move on? Gray will be popping up later as well.
On Twitch, we have some more stuff. JD Haven says, I watched the live stream with Ian on TikTok, and he mentioned 2 weeks ago that Gray and Adira have been bumped from guest stars to main stars. So we will be seeing a lot more of them. That's very exciting.
Yeah, I figured, especially when they said they were going to be in season 4, like, or the fact that, like, the episode after you meet Adira, like, Adira still had a pretty prominent role on the ship and stuff. Like, you knew they were just going to join the main cast eventually.
And again, like to know that they're not only a grief projection for me was so beautiful. To know that Gray's actually here, that was great.
Makes you feel better about the fact that it's like, oh, Gray's technically dead. You're like, but are they? Because you're so used.
Exactly.
We just lost Brittany. Hold on.
Yeah.
Brittany's audio.
Okay, who can do the best Brittany
I
impression?
muted myself.
Ba, ba, ba.
It's been a long road.
I didn't even go there.
No, I can't hear you.
It's been a
You
long...
can't now?
Oh, now we can. Now we can.
we can.
Okay, it was
She's
really weird.
back.
I guess my gayness was too powerful. I was starting to like, rant about gay power, and then my mic completely just like disconnected. I was just
Not
like,
handle the
did I mute
power.
myself?
So much
Yeah.
rainbow.
I have the power by the power of Gay Skull.
Indeed.
I don't know. I was saying some gay shit. Just something about us dying, and it's nice for us not to actually be dead when we die. I don't know. I don't remember what I was saying. So, moving away from the space gaze, we have Saru, who even while in human form is able to connect with Sakal and get him to open up about leaving the holo program and finally going outside. They also discover what triggered Sakal to begin with to accidentally cause the burn, which turns out to be his mother's death. So, what did you guys think about like just the connection scenes between them? And even though he couldn't really see that like Saru in his normal form, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
like they still had that connection. They were able to find a way to connect to each other.
Saru was always like our space dad. on that ship anyway. So him actually connecting with Sakal in that fatherly way was amazing. But I did not the burn stuff did not. I didn't like it. No.
Nope.
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 I was
mean,
okay.
I called it.
You did. You did.
Giraffe is right. I like how they made it make sense of that. Like in my mind, I just picture him as being like, because I love X-Men so much, this was a case of like the X gene happening. And that's kind of what they're explaining when Culber's like, oh, well, during like mitosis or meiosis, like the way his cells are formed or whatever, he like has this like sort of resonance with dilithium around him, which like, I mean, things do all vibrate at a certain frequency. So like me knowing science and like knowing enough about superheroes, I was like, yeah, I could see how this could make sense. I feel like they definitely did this so that nobody could possibly fucking ever guess this ever. Like at the beginning of the season, like, you know, episode 1, they're like, guess how the burn happens? And literally nobody would be like, well, there was a baby Kelpian whose mother died in front of him. He screamed and blew up all the dilithium in the entire universe. Like, who would come up with that?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like, no one would ever fucking guess that. You're absolutely right. No one would guess that. And while I'm never going to be okay with that being what caused the burn, there is something that makes me be very at peace with it. And listen, like, I respect the writing. I don't like the decision, but it does something really unique and awesome for this season, the series moving forward. This frees up season 4 from being any kind of, okay, now we have to go and fight whoever caused the burn. Okay. Like, this opens up season 4 to be a real Star Trek season again. You don't have to be like, oh, well, the fucking Klingons caused the burn, or I think they mentioned that in the first episode of the season that the Gorn were destroying parts of subspace. Oh, we don't have to go fight the Gorn, you know.
Or the Federation turns out to be bad. I feel like they were trying to set it up so we'd guess wrong, and then they're like, bait and switch, bitch, it's a baby.
This completely frees up not only season 4 to be very like almost like Planet of the Week Star Trek again, it also allows the Federation to heal, right? Because if you have a villain who causes the burn, then all of a sudden you're having to deal with wars and fighting and more distrust of the Federation immediately. And I know we're kind of skipping ahead to the end of the episode, but you have planets who are part of the Federation rejoining because this is healing, because it was completely an accident. The burn was an accident, and it's 100 something years later. There could be no responsibility taken. He was just a child, and while I don't like that, I respect it, and I really like what it does for both the Federation and season 4. So I guess in a way, I do like it.
It's like, I don't like it, but I accept it.
Yeah, I'm Lando in this situation.
Think about it this way: they didn't burn any bridges; they built them.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, it wasn't as shocking as we were kind of hoping for. Everybody was hoping for some like a big aha moment in that. What did Culber refer to him as? A polyploid?
Yes.
Yeah, which is
polyploid.
We have polyploids though, like in real life. I feel like whatever Star Trek meaning must be like a little more intense. I feel like it's the same as saying someone has like the X gene, like they're a super powered or a mega powered mutant, where it's like they don't know of these powers, but they can do whatever.
And go ahead.
So I was just gonna say, just to build sort of on what Julian was saying, I did like the cause of the burn, because, like Julian was saying, it was an accident. And I was worried that if it was an enemy, if it was another alien species, if somebody had the ability to do that, then you would have this sort of balance of power that just would not work in the galaxy anymore. Mm-hmm. It's almost like sort of a Star Wars reference. There's this idea in the Last Jedi that you can hyperspace into into the Star Destroyer, and just as soon as they decided that you could start using hyperspace as a weapon to destroy anything, then basically the balance of power is gone in the universe, because everybody can just hyperspace into everything, and everything's overpowered at that point. And so that's one of my many gripes with that movie. But the idea that this was an accident and that this was something that I would never have guessed in a million years from the episode number 1, I really appreciated that.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I didn't mind it, and I like the development around that, if that makes any sense. Like the character, it all makes sense. Like once this episode happened, I look back at the arc and I'm like, yeah, this makes complete sense. Like all 3 episodes make sense together.
It does make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and when you do a little bit of research in that, I actually went and started kind of researching dilithium crystals and that. And one thing I didn't realize is that dilithium crystals, according to the lore, in that they exist in more than 3 dimensions, which is how the subspace reaction happened with mixing with.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And listen, again, going into setting things up, it's beautiful what it does for the character of Saru. We're going to talk about this more later, I assume, but Saru is one of the characters that comes completely full circle from season 1 because of Sukal and reuniting with Kelpians. I think that's a great moment.
Yeah, him
He
being
sees firsthand. Oh, go ahead.
going back to his planet was such a big deal for him, and
Mhm.
I know we didn't need to see it in a longer form, but just seeing that short period of time where he was just truly happy with Sukal, like looking at the stars, I was like, oh my god, Doug Jones, so good.
Doug Jones.
I know. Like I said before, Doug Jones, you can have just his eyes and he's behind a brick wall and he will do something Oscar worthy. It's crazy.
I don't think there was anybody else who could have dealt with that situation, like Saru did, and that like this emotionally and intellectually stunted Kelpian.
Yeah.
Yep.
And going off what you just said, Hawk, Talix on Twitch says even before the jump to the future, he never expected to see Kaminar again.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like even saving his whole species and finding out in the future that they then joined the Federation or they were capable of flight and all these other different things that he would hope for his people, just knowing that even, and the emotions from that was insane. So then to see, well, I mean, he hears about the ship that, was destroyed, or the beacon that they heard basically, which was that song throughout the universe from when the initial burn happened. Like just knowing that there were Kelpians, he's like, oh, they actually did this. There were Kelpians that did that. Was awesome. And then to find another Kelpian and be able to help them in the way that he can, because Saru's always been this empathetic character, like because of his threat ganglia and everything like that, he could sense certain emotions and like threats and different things like that. But I think it's so interesting that he goes from a character that was so afraid, because literally like he had to be, because that's how his species was to be cold, and then to help a lone Kelpian who's nothing but afraid. His fear literally caused the burn, but as an accident. So to bring someone out of this darkness and this fear and to be this like beacon of light and hope, like the name of this episode, the fact that it's like the Hope Is You Part 2, there's no one character that represents that hope. It's everybody. Like it's all of the disco crew. Like it's all of them together. So
And
Beautiful.
why are you
Sukal
shaking
is
your head?
such
Are you
a
unhappy?
he's such a cool echo of
Mhm.
Saru himself, like
Yeah.
somebody that's locked in a very small place and that wants to go outside and is scared. And I think that he sees himself too and the possibilities for that kid. So yeah, that's beautiful. I liked it.
It all comes full circle this season. We're gonna get to it. I love themes. So, as the Hollow program and the world around them slowly crumbles away, Gray realizes that they're going to be gone too, or like this version of them that can be seen and felt. How did you guys feel about this scene and the like emotional breakdown and the support that Gray received from Culber and Adira?
Cried.
Same.
Crying, trying not to cry right now, honestly.
When Culber promised, he's like, "We're gonna find a way to so that you can be seen and felt and heard." I was like, it's happening now. Somebody else talk.
Space Dance,
Yeah,
man.
like I knew once the holodeck program ended, she would disappear in that. But the fact that Colbert could see her and like knew that there was just much more than like her as a part of the Trill consciousness, and that there was something real there, and that's like a new hope for him. And that and he's like, I'm gonna find a way to bring you back to this world. I loved it.
It's this crazy it's this crazy unconditional love that Hugh and Paul have gotten for Adira, and it's so beautiful that they don't think she's crazy, and that Gray does exist, and that love translates immediately to Gray, and it was so fucking beautiful and such a, oh my god, such an amazing moment, and the look on Gray's face as the program is ending is just You know there's hope, but it's also it's just
Being lonely.
extremely heartbreaking. Yeah.
I think it opened a new door. Like, I want to see the next episode now because yes, they disappear, but now I know they're here for real. Because I was doubting. Let's be honest, I was not a believer until today. Like when Gray disappears, like a few episodes ago, I was like, oh, Adira got over the grief, and
I was thinking the same thing.
they're gone now. Yeah,
Like
and
it was an imaginary friend.
Know. Yeah, and now they're going to be back and they're going to find a solution. Science. Yes, I like science.
Exactly.
See?
And the cool thing is that whole family unit will work on a solution, I'm sure.
And Aaron just said that on Twitch. The Trek LGBT fam has been so wonderful. So yeah, absolutely.
Moving on, so I don't cry because I don't want
right.
to think about it right now. I thought I'd be able to talk about it, and then I was like, nope, getting choked up. Now into like the ending portion. So this is going to be mixing like the A and B plots together. So we have the disco crew back together again, and the day is saved, and most importantly, the space gays have their reunion. That's what I thought was most important, so shut up. How do we feel about this group and their journey and connection all together as a whole? Connections, so many.
Oh yeah, it's a much stronger connection than just like a crew of a spaceship, and that like when Owo realized that she was the only one who could enact the plan to just to destroy the nacelle and stop the warp field, like she turned to the crew and that and said, "I love all of you," and that, and it's like,
and they all gave the last of their air for her to do it, and you're just like, this is so fucking intimate. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, and that's actually part of the reason that I have a bit of an issue with Paul's reaction, because he has every right to feel the way he does. And I think I said this last week. If I was put in his position, I probably would have done the same thing. But you see the rest of the crew just unconditionally follow Michael because they know that she's right. And I think that one of Paul's less than stellar traits as a character, and I think he's written this way on purpose, is that he can be very selfish and not think of the needs of the many. And it's interesting, and I know you also have that to talk about later, but the journey as a whole has been just in 3 seasons, this crew has been, I think, through more insanity than 21 seasons of TNG, DS9 and Voyager combined. I mean, like, Klingon War, an evil AI trying to take them over, jumping 1,000 years into the future. Like, what the hell else has to happen to this crew? It's amazing that they're all still together. It's beautiful.
The only thing that'll happen, petty gay drama, and I called it.
Speaking of gay, real quick, this is a really not gay, but just LGBT. This is important. JD Haven says, I know Brittany knows this from her visit on Open Channel Trek, but thanks to the episode Forget Me Not, Discovery Season 3 is part of the reason why I was brave enough to come out as non-binary myself.
So, that's beautiful.
Yes, Jay.
Thank you for sharing that, Jay. That's awesome. That's fantastic.
Forever proud. What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to add that, I mean, you're right about Stamets as a character. Even Anthony Rapp has said that, like, there's certain aspects of his character, like, Paul is that way. He gets, like, whether it's, not purposely being selfish or whatever, but he is very, like, headstrong in a way, or kind of like, like, you meet him like this at any point in time, so I don't think that that's, like, an unfair assessment. We know that eventually he and Michael will probably be fine, but there's got to be that little bit. I mean, Bro got thrown out of an airlock. Yeah, it was to save his life, but at the same time, he took that a little personally. He was like, I want to save my family. And she's like, okay, save yourself first. And he was like, fuck you.
And then, like, the double fuck you to have Vance also be like, oh yeah, what Michael did was right.
We're going to put you on a ship.
That's the thing. I think he just didn't like feeling powerless. Like, he got Osyraa, like, completely fucking knocked him out, took him over. And then you have him begging Michael, like, go save my family. And she's like, I'll save everybody, but, like, can't just focus on them. Bye-bye. And then he shows up to Starfleet and is like, Vance, help. And then he's like, carry him away. Like, as a gay, that's super traumatic. You're like, listen to me.
For Stamets, going back even to season 1 and that, I feel like he was more of a scientist drafted into Starfleet into a military capacity in that, because even back in season 1 and that, he had a lot of objections to having his work like kind of co-opted for military purposes and that. So it sort of makes sense that he had more of an emotional reaction given the situation and that, he wasn't so much concerned about right and wrong in that, as far as what was being taken away from him. That I think the rest of the crew was more kind of trained to self-sacrifice and think about others before themselves. But I don't think Stamets has ever really got to that level.
For
Even
him,
though he
it's
loves
like
his
self, sacrifice. He's like, sacrifice. I recognize those words. And they're
Yeah.
like, put them together. And he's like, I don't understand.
and
if you
faced
go
with
back into
everything.
the
Yeah.
Sorry, if you go back to the beginning of the season, to like the problem he had with Detmer, that felt that he was the center of attention, and now how she's part of the crew of the nucleus, and is being thrown out of an airlock. I feel like we're always like
Literally being thrown out.
we're always like trying like to understand the relationship even inside of the crew and how they fit with each other. And I feel he still has to figure stuff out.
Yeah.
He hasn't stemmed his purpose yet.
Get off my bridge.
Yeah, thank
But
you.
he's met some good friends along the way.
I want to know what the hell is going on.
So, as Julian already touched upon, Stamets obviously doesn't meet Michael's smile or gaze on the ship, and she did shove him out of an airlock. But we'll have to see how they continue next season. I'm sure it's either going to be a minor plot point or maybe a major one, but I doubt it's going to be forever. They probably will butt heads, but I feel like it's going to lead to Stamets getting character development, because like Michael got more than enough.
Oh, yeah.
Development. She's good. She's good on development for the next century. Anyway, speaking of fan favorite characters, the one, the only, Adil Hussein returns as fan favorite true believer Aditya Sahil from the first episode of the season. Which was That Hope Is You Part 1.
He's the
Another
hope.
case of a wonderful bookend this season. How did we feel about this amazing appearance? Yes, he is the hope.
I was
He
so
is part of the
happy.
hope.
He was the person I wanted to see the most, and I was hoping he would be the president. I know that was a far-fetched thing, but I loved him. And him talking to Michael at the end was such a beautiful thing. Like it was such a great reunion for these two characters that have gone through so much.
This is my favorite part of the episode. When you see him shaking hands with Vance and he's gotten a rank and everything, and then you see him walking towards, I'm gonna cry. When he's walking towards the transport, I cried twice watching this.
Hydrate while you cry.
Walking towards the transporter, and his face goes from happiness to like just pure joy when he sees Michael, and Michael's just like in awe and shock that he's here, and it's just like just this such amazing freaking moment. And
he finally made it. Like that's amazing.
He made it, and you know what I love about that even more? I guarantee you he's going right back to that starbase to be like that beacon of like, I am Starfleet. I'm here to help the people that still don't have dilithium available. But the line, I see you found your way home, and as did you. Oh, so good. So good. I almost wish.
Cry.
I know. I almost wish that Michael was like, so you want to join the crew?
Oh, that would be beautiful. Oh
I
my
will.
god.
But he's also perfect just showing up like that.
Yeah.
So
and
I
he's
don't
a
know.
lieutenant, right?
Yeah, very.
I was gonna say I don't.
Harry Kim.
He
So I became rather jaded. I don't know what it is, but when this very first episode came out, I was watching you guys do the recording, and I was actually typing in the chat, and I was convinced that this character did not work, that there was something up with this character, that this guy was evil, that this did not make sense to me. I was like, we're gonna find out what's up with this guy, because everybody else thinks he's awesome, and I think there's something up with this guy. And then, it comes completely all the way around, and he's like, yeah, I got a rank. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess he was what he appeared to be. And I don't know what this show. No, but this show has done that, because the first season of this show, where it sort of made me feel like Star Trek had gotten much darker. Right? The first season of it, where where you didn't know who to trust, and the captain ended up being the bad guy, and all of this stuff sort of jaded me, right?
Trauma. We all
yeah.
had trauma. From Lorca, I'm still processing.
Lorca did nothing wrong.
To
He was
be- to
trying
be-
to get home.
Fair. As soon as I saw Jason Isaacs was him, I was like, well, obviously he's the bad guy. Because, like, you don't watch the OA and think, oh, I'm going to trust this man ever.
No?
No. If I met Jason Isaacs in real life, I'd be like, he's going to knock me out and steal my organs. He's a wonderful actor. I'm sure he's a great human, but no thanks.
JD Haven on Twitch says, I was thinking that it was going to be a major plot twist that he was actually the president himself, but wasn't allowed to reveal himself as part of his security. So you and Eric,
Get out of my head.
get out of his brain.
He's the president of the fandom. He's the president of all of us true believers, and that's good enough.
There's a
No, I
queen.
always-
There's a queen.
That's Grudge.
I always liked the fact about his character that it wasn't so much, he was just kind of carrying an idea, like from generation to generation. It's like he's almost like a torchbearer, like I guess like the Klingons had in the first season of that. But
nice.
yeah, for him, this was just a generational family idea that was passed on to him. He was kind of, and it was a duty he knew he had to perform. It kind of makes, like, the Federation sound a little kind of sacred, but for him, it was like a sacred idea.
Mm-hmm. I can't decide if I want to talk about the chat popping or go back to the thing. So
Let's go back to
people
the thing.
Okay, going back to the thing. We'll touch on the chat. You'll just throw it in there. So, Saru will also be taking Sakal to Kaminar as part of his mother's wishes, which leaves the captain chair open. And in the most dadmiral move yet, Vance supports Saru's decision for Michael to finally become captain. I screamed. I knew it was coming. I saw it coming, but I still stood up out of my chair and I screamed.
Okay. They saw me scream through the Discord chat live. But it's like, oh my God, he's going to ask her. He's going to ask her. Ask her. Like, it was more exciting than a proposal. Like, for me, it was like, and then she's like, I don't think. I was like, shut up, take it. You need to take it now. And I was a wreck. When she almost said no, I was, do it for all of us. Exactly.
Yeah, like I was sweating and I stood up and I was like screaming and I was like, why did I just jump up like I'm at a soccer game and somebody scored? I was just like, yeah. I was like, yeah, Michael. Yes, Aniqua, take it. And I was just like, what is going on?
And we all knew, but still, like, to hear it, I was like,
okay, she had a great line in this episode too, where they talk about the no-win scenario, and she goes, "I don't believe in that.
I never quit."
Like I never quit. Oh, so.
She also says, "I don't believe." Yeah, in that moment, yeah.
Because she's Vulcan and she's like Kobayashi Maru. My brother invented that bitch.
My favorite part of this was how Vance really came to the decision in that, because we get the idea that he's much too strict in that, and he just follows like Starfleet code down to the letter in that. But we realize he also is capable of like abstract reasoning in that, and the reason behind that was that he had a daughter in that who learned math by drawing pictures, and so like he really I think that it just seemed to humanize him even more so. The fact that he could, make that abstract leap and realize that, she might not do everything the right way in that, but she still knows how to do it.
Yeah.
It also teaches him there's multiple ways that can be the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Odin is is like one of my favorite things about this season, and Admiral Vance. And listen, if you want to talk about like a minor character coming into his own, dude, he's just he's really coming to his own. This was such a beautiful scene talking about his family and the fact that he was like, you need to take the job. You need to take the job, because we've been waiting for 3 seasons, and like Michael's redemption, talking about like, it all comes down to the full circle thing again, right? Michael was on the brink of becoming a captain in the pilot of Discovery. And then just some unfortunate mutiny happened.
A little sprinkle of mutiny.
A little sprinkle of mutiny.
Just
and that all gets thrown away, and she's given that second chance, and she gives that amazing "We Are Starfleet" speech at the end of season 1, and thus begins her journey to that command chair again. Mm-hmm. And to just to finally earn it while also going on the journey of like, well, maybe I'm not right, where we get Saru in the chair and we get this season did two things, very predictable, yet predictable in the best possible ways. We knew that Saru was longing for Kaminar and that we would see him back there, and we knew that Michael was going to take the captain's chair at the end of this season. Obvious as it was still I think the best moment, besides maybe the Sahil reunion, seeing her in that chair, to see that this crew respects her so much, that standing, basically them standing at attention for her, and not just the fact that they focus on Michael being captain, right? The fact that they focused and did a quick shot of each one of their faces, that this is a family and she is the captain of this family. She fits in that chair. We saw that in episode 4, right? When she goes to the seed ship and she is just so natural in command. And remember when I was so pissed that she got the first officer shit taken away from her? And now I'm like, that was good. That was the right choice, because
we all knew it was for a reason. We're like, stop shitting on Michael. I know she's gonna grow a flower from that mulch or whatever the fuck the saying is, but like, damn, come on.
This is the last thing I'll say on it though. This is captain number 4 for Discovery. This better be the last captain. I'm just saying, like, no more captaincy changes.
I think that's the point.
Yeah, this ship needs some stability. Michael is the fucking captain of Discovery. Let's keep it that way. She has earned that shit. And that's it.
I think that's
They'd
all.
have to deal with me.
Yeah, they would have to deal with you, but you don't want that. You don't want that.
Nobody wants that.
So real quick before we continue with Michael being the new captain, I was just going to see, do we think Doug Jones is going to be back as Saru? And how do we feel about him leaving the captaincy and the crew, whether it's just temporarily he's left them, or if it's going to be a long-term thing or not for his character?
Just going to say this right away. Michelle Paradise, executive producer and writer of the series, on the Ready Room this morning, confirmed that Doug Jones and Saru are back for season 4. So
yeah,
it would be stupid to get rid of him.
Yeah, no. I think that he's going to be in a much different role. I think he's
ambassador.
Yeah, ambassador or an admiral, something. Dude, it would be amazing. He has that really. I think they're kind of setting this up with showing it at the end of this episode when the president of Navarre shows back up, and I think people automatically think, well, maybe ambassador to Kaminar. Maybe what if he's the Federation ambassador to Navarre?
That'd be cool.
That would be really cool.
And the Trill ambassador showed up too. So. And that's the thing. I think he'll definitely move into one of those roles where he's not only just welcoming his kind of the Federation and making sure that they have a place still within that, but like also working. He has that empathy, like I said. Like you saw how much he did it with one person who he's never met before. That's a Kelpian. So the fact that he would be able to do this with just whole cultures and everything, I think they need it, because season 4 seems like it's going to be that episodic go around to planets sort of. Adventure quest thing. So
even though I think he might end up in that ambassador type role or liaison, I hope he goes back on the ship. Like, I really just want him to be back because I want to see him every episode.
The question is someone who's been in that position okay with being even Saru, who is very, very selfless character, right? Always thinks of the many. Is he okay being a number 1 again?
I think he would be. I think he's one of those people that would.
What does that do to Tilly?
Do you think Tilly's going to be first officer? Like, are they just going to? She better not be ensign. Like, she can't be ensign anymore.
I think Tilly's going to end up being first officer. Like, I think, like, right now it's not really solidified, and they're just like, well, Saru's giving up his captaincy. You can take over. He's doing this, whatever. But I think it's going to be pretty solidified that it's Michael. Her first officer is Tilly. And that Saru, if he stays with the crew, like, he can be like, it could be like on Firefly, where, obviously he's not like that sort of an ambassador, but staying with the ship and then being the one who takes care of like the cultural customs or is there to make these relationships and like help the Federation out that way. Because you have all these ships that did their, 5-year journey, whatever year journey, and some of them established first contact, some of them, as we know, lower decks, second contact. People got to put in the legwork. So Saru can stay on the ship and still do things, I think, for the Federation, but be part of the crew.
And he did that with the Vulcan people already, so that would be like the perfect evolution of his, I guess, role on the ship.
True. So the episode ends with the crew on the bridge, as Julian already mentioned, and they're in their new Federation uniforms. Michael takes the chair, and it finally feels like Michael is exactly where she belongs. How do you guys feel about Captain Burnham and Let's Fly?
Okay, that's when I started to cry right there.
Let's
yes!
fly?
Yeah, the let's fly. I balled up a little bit.
I love it.
I have no words. Okay, no, I have one word. I don't like these uniforms. I don't like them. I do not. Gray, really?
You're not.
Come
Apparently,
on,
you're not
no.
alone.
You're
Yeah.
not.
Thank you, Erin. I'm here for you. Like, great minds.
What'd
if
you
they're
think of
like
the-
the dress uniforms? What if that's just
Yeah,
to
maybe.
bamboozle us, and then immediately they're back in their normal clothes?
I like the grays. I don't like the
Giant
over-
color?
Well, no, I like everything about them except the top third where it's like this overemphasis on rank. I don't like the neck. And when you're
The
a
chevron
captain,
and the pips.
yeah, it's like when you're a captain or an admiral, you have chevrons, chevron on the neck, and then the 4 on your transporter as well. Like, we don't need to see your rank in 4 different places. Come
What
on.
if it's one for every dimension, technically?
Yeah.
So even the dilithium knows you're a fucking admiral, you know?
Okay, everybody hates the new uniform on Twitch, by the way. Thank you.
Okay.
Uh,
I don't mind them.
I don't mind it.
They'll grow on me, but I have a feeling I'm like, these might not be the ones they're always wearing. Like,
And,
they're
hope
doing
so.
shit.
and I said this on Discord. I think they actually look way better on the women than they look on the men. Like, they just don't work on the men. The fit seems better on the women for some reason. Like, it just works. I don't
And
I don't know.
they got rid of Culber's all white, which I don't
Well, he
like.
has the white strip though.
I thought it was the blue one he had.
They all get a colorful strip.
Culber had a white strip.
Oh.
Adira had the blue strip.
But do the robots have to wear a uniform? That's the real question.
Oh, yes, please. That'd be
I wanna see a
adorable.
little chevron. So
But the robots did come in 3 different colors.
Yep.
They did.
Yep.
they
That's
did.
true.
I also don't have enough words in the world to talk about how much I love Burnham being captain, but all I know is this is what I've wanted since the very first episode of the show.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to build to this. We were hoping it would happen by the end of the season since it didn't happen immediately at the beginning of the season. And she had to go through that sort of disconnected character arc where she questioned herself. But that's what the hero always does, you know. Am I worth this? Am I worthy? So the fact that it happened at the end of the season makes me feel good. And knowing that the show, the way this finale kind of wraps off this season and then the whole like first 3 seasons sort of major arc for Michael's redemption and things like that. It's nice to feel this like fresh start into the 4th season, knowing like this is our captain, this is her crew. Like I am in this for the long haul, and that's how it felt for me, and I love it.
Do you think she had that "Let's fly" in the back of her mind the whole time? She was like first
Oh,
officer.
Definitely. You kidding me? Burnham probably has been saying that since she was like, I don't even know how old.
Daniqua Martin Green on the Red Room was hilarious. Apparently, she had come up because she knew from the beginning that she was going to be captain at the end of the season, and she had like kept on coming up with her tagline in the back of her head, and like none of them were working. And she got to the table read for the script one day, and she didn't come up with that one. It was right in the script. And she was like, "Yep, that's the one."
Let's fly.
What was Saru's again? Saru's awkward one?
Execute.
Carry on.
Execute.
Or-
Yeah,
Carry on.
Wasn't it
Carry
hit it?
on.
Well,
No,
he tried that. He said
Billy tried it.
Yeah, and they were like, "Ooh, that's already used." We need to- So getting deep here, we're gonna touch on some of the themes of this season / this episode. So emotional connection was a huge theme this season, and it comes to the forefront in this finale. Michael and the crew were disconnected in the beginning of the season and have found meaningful connections throughout. From Michael saving a book from torture to the crew fighting for the Federation they believe in and willing to die for one another, to Saru preventing the burn from ever happening again by listening and empathizing with the frightened Sakal, and finally to Gray wanting to be seen and felt and heard, and the Space Gays having their reunion. Connection is ultimately what drives the episode and this finale. It's crazy that this was all written and filmed pre-pandemic, but it manages to capture what we've all experienced so well so far, I think. And the hope is you is the message that we all need right now in the world. You know, as dark as it gets, we need to hold on to that hope, hold on to our connections to one another, even if it's over Zoom. You know, we can't physically be there for each other, but virtually, look at us. We're a crew. The true discovery is the friends we made along the way. This
Aw.
collective. Yeah, I'm getting deep, bitches. So, overall, The finale's pretty cool because thematically and literally it bookends the season 3 premiere. Ta-da! The Hope Is You Part 1, The Hope Is You Part 2, names. It ties up the season and the arc of Michael's redemption. Look, we already talked about this. And the Disco Cruise journey, if you think about it, break down every character. They all had mini arcs over the last 3 seasons. It also manages to give the group a mission for season 4, and it seems like a mission that we generally expect from Star Trek. Ooh. So, do we think season 4 will be episodic in nature? Because they're delivering dilithium to planets and civilizations that are separated by the burn? Are they going to explore? Are they going to, quote, boldly go into the future where no other Star Trek series has gone before, technically, because time?
I got the very quick impression as soon as they were like, when Michael asked, so what's the news? What's up? Well, we're delivering this dilithium, 2 Federation planets, 5 non-Federation planets. This is saying, to me at least, that season 4 is going to be a lot less serialized. People have been wanting Discovery to be more Star Trek and episodic in nature for a very long time. We're already going to be getting that with Strange New Worlds. And I'd like to see that from Discovery. This season managed to hit on the lightheartedness a little bit more, and I think we're going to get even more of that on next season.
I think they really hinted at it with the theme at the end. You're like,
Yeah.
fun stuff.
I think they'll probably continue with a definitely like a serialized overarching theme for a season, and that with more exploration into other planets and that, because they're also going to be not competing with, but a strange New Worlds is going to be handling a lot of the episodic material in that. So I think they're probably going to stick to the current kind of plot theme wise in that.
Yeah, if we have Picard being like the one, like the giant movie split up amongst episodes, I can see this one being the in between of Strange New Worlds and Picard, like having some overarching themes, but also being fairly light. I don't want to say light, but lighter.
They're like, we'll have 2 big arcs, and in the middle, a Monster of the Week episode. They're like, hell yeah!
No, it's the one where they go to a planet that's like World War II.
Yep, immediately. And Saru's like, oh god.
I see it like we're gonna see the Federation be rebuilt, something that we kind of never really seen, and we're gonna revisit all these people that we know from the whole history of Trek and see what they've become in the future, which is very exciting. I really want to see Nivar. Like, we've seen a little bit, but I want to see the ship. I want to see the planet. The Trill, we saw a little bit. Like, they hinted in the idea that we're going to revisit all these places. And for me, it's very exciting. Like, I want to see it so much.
I want to see it all.
We saw it in Enterprise. I don't know what you're talking about.
Wow.
And I have to add that we're going to see, too, like, people, like, being part of it. Like, Quajan, right?
Quajan.
They're going to be pilots. They're going to be people that will be pilots for the new spore drives if they can replicate that. So they're going to have a new place now in the Federation. And I think it's very exciting to see.
I didn't even think about that. That's amazing.
And to go along with what you just said, Rob says on Twitch, where are the Klingons? We know where the Romulans are because they're on Nivar. Cardassians are part of the Federation. Where are the Cardassians? Where are the Bajorans? What has happened with the Borg?
Yeah,
they
very
formed
good
a Borganization. There's an Borganization.
All right, hit that button.
And also, there were some rumors and people thinking that the Dominion might be involved with the season. They weren't, and I'm happy they weren't. But
they
that's
could have been the
something to think
Dominions
about as well.
of the chain.
So yeah,
Minions. Anyway, JD Haven also said, Eric, it's been like 20 years since we had a Nazi.
We're gonna have it. It'll happen.
Jake Crabsap says, I want to see the Founders. Don't we all? Engine Nerd 21 said, what happened to the lizard babies? And now the whole chat is screaming about lizard babies.
I have a mission. I have a mission. Erin has gave me the mission to say lizard babies. See here. Now you have it.
There it is.
They're part of the Federation now. They have their own planet.
The lizard babies, yes.
The descendants of Janeway and Tom Paris. Jesus
Anthony.
They're the ones piloting Voyager. The Class J one or whatever. The Voyager J. Okay. So, yeah, final thoughts?
Oh, sorry. And we're gonna have to see how the Andorians and the Orions are gonna fit in these two. That's another thing I want to see.
They're gonna fit one antenna at a time.
Do you think it's going to be the last time we see the Emerald Chain? Like they said
No.
that it's broken apart, but yeah.
I think it's a throwaway line. I don't think it's the last we've seen of them.
Mhm.
For sure. That would be dumb. That
I
would be
think it
would be
was like, a metaphor. They're not really broken. The chain fell apart. So any final thoughts, leftover questions from the finale or this season, and any Easter eggs or references? This is important. I have one that I really want to talk about.
do it. You're
I'm
excited.
doing it.
Do it.
Okay, so Admiral fucking Vance said, "Time is a luxury we don't have." And I thought that was fucking hilarious because Julian puts that all the time for our other show when we run out of time. And Khan says it, and it's funny because he says, "Time is a luxury we don't have, Admiral," or "you don't have, Admiral," right? And the Admiral said it.
Mhm.
What? I can't believe it. Anyway,
Oh.
that was it. That was my joke.
I do have a final thought because we didn't talk about it near the beginning of the episode. I want to talk about Osyraa real quick because Osyraa was the weak link of this season. She was not a good villain. She was
Shame.
not well written. She was not no offense to Jenna Kidder. I haven't seen her in much else, so I don't have a lot to base this off of, but I don't think that she acted particularly well. I think that this episode was probably her worst performance. At the very beginning of the episode, it honestly felt like she was reading off a teleprompter. And the way that she went out in this episode is just like a giant, just like what's the word I'm looking for? It just like confirms that, right? Just to go out like a chump, just getting shot like blindsided in the head. She never screamed, and I know she wasn't supposed to be a big bad because that's not the theme, like Brittany was talking about earlier, the theme of this season, but she's just still wasn't well thought out. Like the Emerald Chain as a whole is a really cool idea for a villain, but Osyraa missed the mark in a very big way. Not like Michael, who shot her right in the face.
But they brought her in like she was going to be the big bad. That's the issue. Like, that's the
Yeah.
biggest issue is like, they're like, oh, there's this big person in the Emerald Chain and she's coming. And then she showed up in such a, I want to say sort of strong way. But then like she was hardly in the season. So we didn't get a feel for her. She had nothing to work with. And then she died. And we're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, like Star Trek villains are more defined by their actions than their words and that. So, like, if we didn't really have her enough in the season that to establish her as a credible villain, then there's not much we can work with.
And there was some
They
like
also
cool
say-
little backstory with her and the scientist guy, Aurelio, but like nothing was fleshed out. So we're like, okay, I guess there's a little bit of color back there.
They threw that away because basically she was like choking him, and you could see that he realized that she was not who he thought she was. But then there was no redemption at the end of that. Like there were a lot of theories that he was going to be the one that was going to have to end her in this episode.
Yeah.
And that never ended up happening. There was no, resolution there.
I mean, Michael Burnham happened. She went full Die Hard. She went full fucking, like, I don't even know what super. She went full Punisher in this episode. She was like, kicking
I
butt,
was
taking names.
just very disappointed with the acting at the beginning. It seemed very phoned in, and it almost I had to watch this episode twice to really fall in love with it, which I do, but that really took me out of it when I watched it the first time this morning.
I thought this was a better episode for her than last episode. Like, I thought I found, especially during like the torture part, I thought that she was like more, I guess, charismatic in a way, or believable that she was like the in charge, like, I'm torturing this guy, I don't give a shit sort of mentality. But I do think overall, Osyraa didn't end up living up to like the reputation that it seemed she was going to have in the beginning. Like when you first learn about her, when they like name drop her, when they have like the prison camp and things like that, I was like, oh cool, female villain. I was like super excited for it. But I will say it was a bit like, not necessarily a letdown, but it was just like, didn't quite meet my expectations. Like it was a little underwhelming. Like she just was kind of, I guess, an average villain. But I mean, I guess after having like, Lorca and like crazy, absolute, just ridiculous shit in the first 2 seasons, they probably were like, here's a normal villain. And we were like,
Yeah.
I don't like this flavor. Like we're too picky because we've had fucking we've had decadent psychopathic ice cream, and they were like, here's vanilla, and I was like, it's not even French vanilla. Fuck you.
No, it's imitation vanilla.
And
Artificial
I-
vanilla.
Mag on Twitch agrees they missed the mark with the presentation of Osyraa.
Yeah.
I wanted her to be a bad Michael, like a Michael, but working for the chain. And actually, when she goes to the data center, data center, I don't remember what it's called,
Yeah.
and she says like, "That's where I knew you were going there." You know, like they
Yeah.
fought the same way, and only there I was like kind of like,
Could have
gonna
been
be
a
epic,
parallel, yeah.
and then she got shot. Like,
It wasn't even a good fight. Like
It was a bad death.
it was choreographed badly. It was like,
I will ask this too, though. Were we also kind of like, you know, they had the Mirrorverse happen, and we dealt with, like, we saw evil Michael, and Sneak was just so fucking good as bad Michael that we have these characters where, like, oh, that's a villain right there. That, like, then when we got Osyraa later, like right after that, we were like, "Ugh."
Well, yeah, that's
I think that's
exactly
what
right.
happened.
Yeah,
We had
Mag just
a
said it.
better
Even
version.
Killy
Yeah.
was more threatening than Osyraa.
Yeah, and I think that was just, you know, maybe those things shouldn't have happened together. I mean, I liked how they happened this season because that was needed for Giorgio and everything, but it's kind of hard to have these amazing characters, like we love the Mirror Universe so much, and then immediately afterwards be like, and Emerald Chain, and we were like, shit, I forgot about that lady. Oh, she's supposed to be scary. I'm not scared now. I saw Mirror Universe. Like,
yeah, it's sad because Janet Kidder's a good. Like, I like her in The Man in High Castle. Like, she was great in that. But
Who is she in The Man in the High Castle?
she was Lila Jacobs.
Was that one season or? I feel like I just
don't
don't
remember.
remember.
Julian, she was such a good actress, you don't even remember who she played.
She was also
Fair.
in Arrow too. She was a mayor for a while.
Oh yeah.
Marrow. I hated myself for that one. I felt actual shame for the first time in my life. Jesus Christ. So was this finale great, or did it leave more to be desired?
Get off my bridge.
What would you give this episode / finale out of 10 Dadmirals? That's Dad Admirals. Because it's wholesome.
I'll go first. I'll give it a 9 because I enjoyed the hell out of it from beginning to end, and that I think it fit nicely in with the other 2 episodes, and that probably even maybe helped to bring up somebody's opinion of the other 2 episodes a little bit. No, Julie, no. Okay. Anyways,
Julian's like,
give it
you
a-
lying.
Nope.
9 out of 10 Dadmirals.
Yay.
I'm with Hawk. I would also say 9 out of 10. As soon as I finished watching it, I watched it this morning. As soon as I finished watching it, I sent a message to Eric and I just said, I said, damn, I love Star Trek so much. This episode continues to remind me that Star Trek is alive and well.
Oh, that's the best review I've ever heard.
I don't know. I want to give it an 8 because I had to watch it a second time to like it, or like really like it. The first time I was just sitting there, I was like, okay, so they stuck with that burn thing, and that couldn't get out of my head. But like all the connections between all the people, I thought was wonderful. So I'll give it an 8.
I'm gonna go with Eric. I'm gonna go just a little step above. I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. And no, Hawk. And to be serious, it doesn't make me give the especially the last episode. It actually makes me like the last episode even less because I feel like they needed to spend time in the Hollow in the last episode and they didn't. So again, like what Eric said, I had to watch this a second time to love it. It's really good. I do love it, but it still has some issues, and the biggest being Osyraa. So 8.5 out of 10. Great finale.
That's like an A+
Okay.
for Julian.
Fuck you.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I don't know. I know.
we knew Osyraa was like it's been some time right now, right? So
Yeah, it's not shocking.
but like the gray moment, I'm sorry, just for that it's a 10 out of 10 already. And then we didn't speak about it, but I'm here for that, sorry. But a Black woman in the captain chair, people.
Yep.
Like we had Captain Freeman in Lower Deck, like we were already prepped, but it's done now.
We got
like,
it. She's in the flesh.
I am the captain now. Where's my badge?
Giraffe has wanted to say
So-
all day.
I'm ready. Look, I have my badge. I have my captain badge here. Like here we go.
Amazing.
Like here we go. I'm the captain now, people.
Look at
So look at me.
me. I am the captain now.
So that's really important. And I know, like, you can cut me, Julian, like, if I go
I'm not
too
gonna
long.
cut you.
We're not cutting it.
No,
Julian's
But
like editing.
there's been
Nah.
Ant, you're the captain
We-
now.
There's been this conversation about black actors like having black captain, and how Cisco had to earn, his
Mhm.
cape through like seasons, right? And
They
it's
made
been the
him
same
wear
for
hair.
Burnham.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's
That
been
was
the
not
same
okay.
for Burnham. Like, she went from EXO to mutineer to science officer, back first officer, down again, like for 3 full seasons, and she's finally in the captain chair. And I think that's beautiful. Representation matters. I cried. Talex cried too, I know, on Discord.
I love it.
That's a great new era for Trek, and we're here for this. So
Agreed.
sorry, 15 out of 10.
about to
I
say-
don't know, 3,000 out of 10.
She's
This is like
infinity.
now one of the most important moments for me in Trek from all the episodes I've seen. It's in the top 5.
Nice.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Thank you.
I guess, did everybody go? And that's
Everybody went on you, and then I'll read
Cool.
Discord or Twitch.
10 out of 10. That's 10 for every finger Doug Jones has. That's 10 for every time I cried about Gray. That's 10 for every time I screamed about Sonequa Martin Green and fucking Michael Burnham sitting in the goddamn chair. So I'm with you, Giraffe. This episode, I feel like, made the whole 3-episode finale arc make sense. I'm not going to say whether or not it will raise or lower any episodes, but I definitely, now having seen this finale, I want to immediately go and like binge the whole season to watch it all together, to be like, I just want to see it all back to back to back to back to back, because it's just awesome. Actually, it makes me want to go to season 1 and watch all the way through season 3 just to see the rise of Michael Burnham.
Fun. I've done that without season
Yeah.
3. I did it like back to back. It's pretty awesome.
But yeah, so good, so good.
Going to our Twitch ratings, Jay Crabsap gives it a 9 out of 10. Talix gives it a 9 out of 10. JD Haven 452 gives it an 11 out of 10. And then this is the one.
I know, I was gonna say you got to scroll back for
yeah.
that other one.
But apart from a few actually great moments, there was just so much stupid it hurt. This is from Rob. This episode was weak sauce, 4 out of 10, and only that high because of Saru and the gray stuff, which was awesome.
Top 10 anime betrayals. Rob just stabbed me in the fucking back.
Rob, we're not friends anymore. This is over. This is over.
But now we're best Discord buddies.
Engineer 21 also gives it an 11 out of 10, and I think that is it for the Twitch ratings.
I mean, if you average them all, that 4 really doesn't bring it down very much.
Well, especially with Giraffe's 3,000 out of 10.
Yeah, right?
That-
So-
There you go.
Wow.
You
So
do not know. You do not understand.
Giraffe is like, this belongs in MoMA. This remove the, I don't even know what. Let's go to the Louvre. We'll get rid of the Mona Lisa. It's gonna be Sonequa. That's
She's
it.
had her day.
Let's fly.
Let's fly. So there are some like lingering questions left over from the finale and season. I know we mentioned it before, but it's kind of, what's going to happen to the Emerald Chain? Are they really gone? They kind of have a formal government. Who knows? Also, is Adira Starfleet now? Did they contact Earth and give her rank based on her rank from the Earth Defense Force? What's going on there?
She is Starfleet. She's wearing a Starfleet uniform, and she has an ensign pip. So that's what I'm guessing happened. They contacted Earth. Is like, what was their rank? And they're like, they were this. And they're like, all right, you're an ensign. Because I don't know if there's a Starfleet Academy right now.
I was about to say, I don't even think they called Earth. I think they're just like, we love Adira. They're ours now. Ensign.
Did anyone look at Tilly's pips?
Ensign.
Still ensign? God damn it.
Pips
I
out
know.
Grande.
Tilly's getting Harry Kim so far.
Oh my god, dude.
No, Tilly's gonna
There's always
rise
one.
like a phoenix. Just
What about what's that scientist's name? Or Aurelio?
Oh, really?
Aurelio,
Is he was on the bridge at the end there? Is he
Not
going to
at
be
the very
going with
end.
them or?
not at the very, very end. He was when they ejected the warp core, I think, but I don't think he was at the very end. I might
wasn't
be
it.
wrong about that.
I didn't see him
I don't
hanging out
think I saw
in the rows of people.
I feel
thought he
like
was there at the
Aurelio
end.
has too much of a Shakespeare name to be kept around, He's there for dramatic purposes only.
Meg, I
What
will
about
look at Tilly's
Butch?
pips anytime I want.
Yeah, right. Wait, but I remember when. Wait, is this the new uniform that has the pips in the weird spot? Are
Yes.
they on the chest? Oh God,
Yes.
it's the nip pips. The nip pips are
I said
back,
nip
kids.
at the beginning of the episode. I said it.
Hashtag nip pips. It's the worst phrase I ever coined. So we did have a subspace poll and mailbag.
Hailing frequencies are open.
Osyraa.
I want to read Rob's.
You could read Rob's. That's fine. I will read the subspace poll. So here it is. So we asked, it is season 3 finale day and now evening. What did you think of That Hope Is You Part 2? We asked on Twitter, and 63% of you said you loved it. 11% said it was okay, and 26% said they did not like it. So that is your subspace poll.
There's a comment on Twitch I want to read.
Read
from Rob. Harry Kim is a rookie now. Tilly has been an ensign for 930 years.
Oh my God.
True.
Oh, good point.
So true.
Does that mean Saru's been the longest sitting captain? Literally,
True.
900 years he sat in the chair. Oh. Anyway, I didn't get to vote in the poll because I watched the episode and then I forgot about it.
Yeah, I
I
forgot
was too
to.
busy writing the outline. But I loved it. So, Spotted Giraffe, do you want to read what you wrote? Or do you want me to?
I'm gonna read my own comments. It's
I
like
can do it.
You're gonna say
Inception.
it if you want. Like you could talk about it.
Some-
That works too.
Inception.
Somebody wants to read it in my voice.
I will read it in your voice. I know we already have a black woman captains in New Trek with Captain Freeman in Lower Decks, but seeing Soniqua Martin Green sitting in the chair saying "Let's fly" made me weep. Is that close enough? I think it's
This
okay.
is
I
very
also-
That was really
I know
good.
you talk one time. I don't know. It's now one of the most memorable Trek moment of my life. Representation matters, friends, even when you are 38. German at
Thank
the
you,
end. Why
that-
not?
It was beautiful. Thank you. Lizard babies all the way.
Lizard babies. That's all I want to say. Lizard babies.
I'm gonna read Captain Pikachu's because I love it. Dad Admiral is confirmed. Dadmiral. Vance is a Dadmiral. He has a daughter.
Admiral.
Dadmiral confirmed.
Canon.
Absolutely right.
It's canon. Yeah.
They also wrote, I don't know if anyone here, this is part of the other reason I wanted to read this one, watch The Haunting of Hill House, which I have, and I fucking love it. There's a quote from that show that I always felt resonated with me, especially in terms of Su'Kal's story. Fear is the relinquishment of logic. The willing relinquish. Sorry, I'm going to start over.
Little.
Yep. Fear is the relinquishment of logic, the willing relinquishing of reasonable patterns. We yield to it or we fight it, but we cannot meet it halfway.
Indeed.
That is such a good
Love
quote.
that. It is.
It's basically what Saru said to him, too.
Mhm. All right. And Rob said, the Cavernous turbolift areas are dumb. They were
Yes,
dumb
they are.
when we saw them last year, but JFC, it was terrible in this one. The ships aren't big enough for empty spaces that large inside. And Michael jumping from turbolift to turbolift was like watching C-3PO in the droid factory near the end of Attack of the Clones. Just terrible.
Good. I didn't even
That's
think of
so
that.
rude.
But it's so
It's so true.
It's so true. It's so dumb. The ship does not match the ability to have cavernous turbolists like that. It just doesn't. There's no science fictioning that away.
Something detached nacelles, something lower decks.
Programmable matter, damn it.
Exactly. You can just make the ship as long as you want.
Because you think
Always.
of Next Generation, right? Where they're remember that episode of Next Generation where they're climbing up the turbo lift shaft, right? Like you see, it's an elevator shaft. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's what it's always been. And then in the J.J. Abrams Trek, they made these massive industrial sections inside the Enterprise. And then they're doing it here now too, where you got this like TARDIS thing going on, where you have this massive section that just doesn't make sense. And then for them to travel, like for her to travel by turbolift all the way to the data area.
And at the speeds they were going.
Yeah, it looked like it wasn't part of the ship. It was like she's traveling to another city or something. It was crazy.
It looked like they were in the mining area in like Wakanda. In the
Yeah.
first
Oh, yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Like it reminded me of that fight where like oh Jesus Christ. It's just that's what it reminded me of. I literally thought they were outside of the ship at first. I was like, oh cool, they're in like a mining area. And then I realized it was inside the ship and I was like, I'm just gonna pretend they're in that cool Wakanda mining area.
On Twitch, Mr. Newbie says, Oh man, it flew away.
Discovery's part TARDIS.
Yep.
Confirmed.
Yeah, there it is.
Chat's too fast. Chat's too fast.
Hi, Joe.
I do want to read what Rob said real quick. This is wild. I was the only one defending the last 2 episodes, and now I'm the only one trashing this one.
True. You are wrong.
I was gonna make a joke about like the fact that he's been running so much, but oh man.
Willy Wonka
That'd be the
elevator engine nerd.
Yeah,
I said the same thing earlier. I said that.
This is amazing.
We're synced.
So, though she's not
As it
with us
goes
here
up.
tonight, Erin wanted us to make sure you all knew that she loved the episode, but the uniforms blow. That's how strongly I believe she felt.
Yes.
I think she would have said the same thing.
She texted me about it. She hates them a lot.
Any final words, friends? We're coming to a close.
Nope.
Just wanted to give you one last.
I'm all good.
Like we're Gucci.
We're also coming to the close of new Star Trek.
I
Like,
know.
we're not going to get any new Trek for a while.
My body can't handle
We
it.
had 23
Oh.
weeks. I think we've been treated too well.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna crash.
We've got
It's
spoiled.
Harder than any ship has ever crashed into a planet in Star Trek history.
I still have to finish Enterprise, so I have like work.
You get to see the worst finale of any Star Trek show.
I have to finish
Oh.
Voyager and then
Oh.
start Enterprise and hate my life.
I'm sorry.
I
really
can
Go
rewatch
from
it
the
with
best
you.
show to the worst.
You need to do like a live tweet when you actually watch the
we should
finale.
do a live watch of that.
Oh, we can do a live episode, like just like watching.
I would be down with that.
Oh,
I'm fine with that.
oh my god, that episode.
I'll ask questions the whole time. What's happening? Who's that?
Don't worry, we'll ask the same thing.
Worry, I most probably will ask the same thing too. So
Mr. Newbie said tardigrade, TARDIS, magical.
Yeah.
All connected. So, I like to call it the Deus Ex Michael Burnham or the Deus Ex Mycelial Network. Either way, it's either Michael or the spore drive that's going to save you at the end of the day. Boom. So, again, we wanted to say how much we appreciate all of you for joining us since we began this wonderful journey. You guys contribute to the show you guys continue to show that Star Trek fans are some of the best and most passionate fans out there. We see it every day on our Discord, like these guys with our amazing collective, on all the threads on our social media, and in our day-to-day lives. We really do appreciate you all.
Yeah.
So thank you again for coming out on Twitch, YouTube, or your favorite podcasting service. Thank you, Julian, Eric, Hawk, Giraffe, and Shos for chatting about Trek with me tonight. We began the season like Michael, adrift in a world we don't recognize due to unpredictable circumstances. And we've ended the season like the rest of the Disco crew, together and still standing against all odds. Remember, darkness will always be present, but we can step out to meet it anyway, just like Sakal. So from all of us here at ASNP, we wish all of our collective friends and listeners around the world all the safety and happiness possible. Majram, and always live long and prosper. Good night, guys.
Bye.
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 Thanks for beaming into our podcast today. If you want to keep the hailing frequencies open, you can subscribe on Apple and Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Spotify. Like what you hear? Put in a good word with Starfleet and leave us a 5-star review.